Hi, everybody. This is Pastor Ron Cusano from Beth Yeshua. I'd like to start today's message with a verse of Scripture. For I would not, brethren, that you be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in thought has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. This is Romans 11:25 through 26. So what is a mystery? A mystery is something that's not easily understood. It's something that makes little sense. Israel is a mystery. Here we have a people who were privy to the Old Testament with all of its prophecies about the coming Messiah. These were crystal clear. These were exact and accurate. Yet when Messiah came, Israel rejected him. Why? The Hebrew prophet Isaiah wrote this about him. He said that the Messiah would be called the mighty God, the everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Isaiah 9:6. Isaiah also wrote that he would be rejected of men, that he would carry our sorrows and be stricken and smitten of God. Isaiah 53:4. He also wrote that he would be wounded for our transgressions and bruised for our iniquities. Isaiah 53:5. Once more, we're told that we need to make his soul an offering for sin. Isaiah 53:10. The Hebrew prophet Daniel told us exactly to the very day when the Messiah would come. Read Daniel 9:25. These are just a few of the countless places in Scripture where Israel was told of Messiah, and yet it did not believe. Why? Because God blinded them. God blinded them to the reality of who the Messiah was so that the Gentiles would believe. Yeah, the Gentiles, you and me. When God brought the children of Israel out of the desert into the promised land, he told them to have nothing to do with them, to stay separate from them, to be his people and not to have anything to do with the heathen, because if they did, they would seek other gods. They would take up their ways. So what did Israel do? Israel did exactly that. Time and again, they married their women. They did business with them. They sought other gods because they were just like them. And time and again, God would punish them and call them back to himself. In Exodus 32:9, God tells Moses, and the Lord said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. They're stubborn. They're willful. They had everything spelled out to them, but they continued to disobey. So God knew that the stiff-necked people would have nothing to do with Gentiles if Gentiles accepted the coming Messiah. But God promised that the Gentiles would seek him. He said this, I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me unto a nation that was not called by my name, the Gentiles. Isaiah 65:1. So God partially blinded the Jews about the identity of the Messiah because of their national sin until the Gentiles would come to believe. We're told that the blinding would be partial and temporary. The majority of the Jews were blinded, but not all. Paul writes in Romans 11:7, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeks for, but the election has obtained it, and the rest were blinded. The majority of the Jews were blinded to who Messiah really is, but not all. God promised that there would be a remnant of those Jews that would believe. He wrote, so even then, at this present time, there is a remnant according to the election of grace, Romans 11:5, a remnant of Jews who believe in Jesus. How long would this blindness last? We're told, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. During this current dispensation, the time of the Gentiles, God turned his attention away from Israel toward the Gentiles. But God has not rejected his people, the Jews. This current dispensation is drawing to a close as we speak, and God will once again turn his attention back to Israel. Once again, Israel will become God's main focus. What a glorious day that'll be. We're told that all Israel will be saved. Wow. This is promised to the Gentiles. This is not promised to the Gentiles, only to the Jews. This takes place when the Lord returns to the earth, and all who see him will know that he is the Messiah. Zechariah 12:10 tells us, and I will pour out upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the Jews, the spirit of grace and supplication, that they shall look upon me who they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him, as one mourns for his only son, and shall be in bitterness, as one is in bitterness for his firstborn. The Jews will see him coming in the clouds of heaven. They'll realize it is Jesus, the one they rejected. They'll fall to their knees and they'll worship him. We're told in Haggai 2:9, the glory of this latter house shall be greater than the former, said the Lord of hosts, and in this place will I give peace, saith the Lord of hosts. Until then, what do? We do not know who the part is that's going to believe, and who the part is that's not going to believe. As we draw closer, more and more Jews are coming to believe every day. Who tells us in Romans 11:31 through 32, even so have these now not believed, that through your mercy they may obtain mercy. For God hath included them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. God will use you and me to deliver this message to Israel. God extended his mercy to you and I and allowed us to come to faith at their expense. Now God expects you and I to extend that same mercy back to the Jews with the preaching of the gospel. Most will not hear you. Most will not believe you. But some will. A growing number will. What makes them want to believe? What makes them want to know? Jealousy. Knowing that you and I, Gentiles, believe in Israel's Messiah will cause them to become jealous. Paul wrote, I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid, but rather through their fall is come unto the Gentiles to provoke them to jealousy. Romans 11:11. He also said, for I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify my office, if by any means I may provoke to emulation, jealousy, them that are my flesh, I might save some of them. Romans 11:13 and 14. Friends, time is growing very short. All the pieces of the prophetic puzzle are neatly fitting together. All the players on the world stage are coming into place. Soon the Lord will return, and the time of the Gentiles will come to an end. I can't say this often enough. We may be the very last generation. Get ready for eternity. May God bless you, and may you find it in your heart to reach out to the lost sheep of the house of Israel with the good news, the gospel of their own Messiah, Jesus. God bless you.